The Kash Patel cover-up. How a whistleblower saved the Epstein files. The email arrived at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. Subject line: Urgent. Document preservation order. FBI Special Agent Jennifer Caldwell stared at her screen, reading the message 3 times to make sure she understood what she was being asked to do. Effective immediately, all files related to case DNY 2019-4738 are to be permanently archived under Restricted Access Protocol, physical files to be transferred to off-site storage, digital files to be migrated to secure server with director-level access only, complete transfer by end of week. Case NY 2019-4738. Caldwell knew that number. Everyone in the New York field office knew it. It was the Jeffrey Epstein investigation, and the email ordering the files buried? It came from FBI Director Kash Patel's office, sent just 6 weeks after his confirmation. What Patel didn't know was that Caldwell had already made copies, and what happened when she brought those files to Congress would trigger the biggest scandal in FBI history, a cover-up so brazen that even Patel's Republican allies would turn on him. But to understand how one whistleblower brought down the most controversial FBI director in decades, you need to know what was in those files and why Patel was so desperate to make them disappear. The files that couldn't exist. The official story was simple. Jeffrey Epstein died in August 2019. His case was closed. Yes, there were loose ends, names in his black book, flight logs, financial records, but without the main defendant, there was no case to prosecute. That's what the FBI told Congress. That's what they told the media. That's what Kash Patel himself said during his confirmation hearing when Senator Whitehouse asked about ongoing Epstein-related investigations. To my knowledge, there are no active criminal investigations stemming from the Epstein matter. It was a lie, and Jennifer Caldwell had proof. Caldwell had worked financial crimes for 14 years before being assigned to the Epstein case in late 2019. She wasn't part of the original investigation. That had been handled by the Southern District of New York. But when Epstein's estate began distributing assets to his victims through a compensation fund, the FBI opened a parallel investigation into money laundering. The question was simple. Where did Epstein's money come from? He claimed to be a billionaire financier, but no one could identify his actual clients. His investment firm, financial trust company, had no public clients, no advertising, no normal business operations. Money flowed in, money flowed out. But from whom and to whom? That's what Caldwell's team was investigating, and what they found was explosive. Between 2015 and 2019, Epstein's accounts received over $380 million in wire transfers from 17 different offshore entities. The money came from banks in the Cayman Islands, Cyprus, and Luxembourg, classic money laundering jurisdictions. But the real revelation was in the transaction memos. Many of the transfers included reference codes. Caldwell's team cross-referenced those codes with other federal databases, IRS records, Treasury Department filings, even some classified intelligence reports. The codes matched. They were tracking numbers for payments to a specific type of entity, political action committees, and dark money groups. Epstein wasn't just receiving money. He was moving it. He was a conduit. Someone was using his offshore network to funnel money into American politics. Caldwell's report, submitted to FBI leadership in March 2021, identified 23 recipients of Epstein-connected funds. Not all of them knew where the money came from. It had been laundered through multiple shell companies. But some did, and some of those names were powerful. 3 sitting congressmen, 2 former cabinet officials, a federal judge, and one name that made Caldwell's supervisor immediately classify the report, a 2016 Trump campaign advisor named Kash Patel. The money trail to Patel. The transaction was dated October 2016. An entity called Hyperion Consulting LLC, later identified as an Epstein shell company, wired $180,000 to a PAC called American Security Initiative. That PAC, in turn, spent $160,000 on communications consulting with a firm that listed Kash Patel as its managing partner. Was it illegal? Not necessarily. PAC money flows through consultants all the time, but it raised questions. Had Patel known the money originated from Epstein's network? If so, why hadn't he disclosed it? And if he didn't know, why was Epstein's operation targeting him specifically? Caldwell's team tried to interview Patel in 2021. He was, at the time, working in the private sector after leaving the Trump administration. He declined through his lawyer, citing attorney-client privilege. They sent follow-up requests. He never responded. Then Trump won in 2024, and he nominated Patel to run the FBI. Suddenly, the man who wouldn't answer questions about Epstein money was going to be in charge of the bureau investigating it. Caldwell's supervisors told her the case was being handled at the highest levels. Translation, stay out of it. She stayed out of it until she got the email ordering the files deleted. The midnight backup. Caldwell didn't think of herself as a whistleblower. She was a by-the-book agent who'd never leaked, never gone to the press, never violated protocol. But she also understood what permanently archived under restricted access meant in FBI speak. It meant buried, hidden, gone. She had a choice: follow orders and watch the investigation die, or preserve the evidence and risk her career. She chose the evidence. Over 3 nights, working from her home office, Caldwell copied everything: financial records, interview transcripts, wire transfer logs, email chains. She backed it up to 3 encrypted drives. Then she called a lawyer who specialized in whistleblower cases. "I need you to understand something," her lawyer told her in their first meeting. "Once you go forward with this, there's no going back. They'll investigate you. They'll question your motives. They'll try to discredit everything you've found. Are you sure?" Caldwell was sure, not because she had a vendetta against Patel, but because the files showed something bigger than one person's corruption. They showed a systematic effort to bury evidence that powerful people had taken Epstein's money, and that the FBI, under Patel, was helping cover it up. She contacted the House Oversight Committee, then Senator Whitehouse's office, then Senator Grassley, a Republican known for protecting whistleblowers. Within a week, all 3 had copies of her files. Patel had no idea what was coming. The hearing that changed everything. March 12, 2024. Patel was testifying before the Senate Judiciary Committee, a routine oversight hearing, or so he thought. The questions started normally: budget allocations, staffing decisions, counterterrorism priorities. Then Senator Whitehouse began his questioning. "Director Patel, I want to ask you about the Epstein investigation. You told this committee during your confirmation that there were no active investigations related to Jeffrey Epstein. Was that true?" Patel didn't hesitate. "Yes, Senator. The criminal case against Mr. Epstein ended with his death. The Victim Compensation Fund is handled by the estate, not the FBI. What about financial investigations, money laundering, tracking where his assets came from and where they went?" "I'm not aware of any such investigations, Senator." Whitehouse paused. "You're not aware, or they don't exist. I would have been briefed on any active cases of that scope. So if I told you that the FBI had an active financial investigation into Epstein's money network as recently as February of this year, just weeks after you became director, you would say that's false?" Patel's expression didn't change. "I would say I haven't been briefed on it." "Then let me brief you." Whitehouse pulled out a document. This is an FBI investigative summary dated February 8, 2024, case number NY 2019-4738. It details wire transfers from Epstein-connected entities to American political figures totaling $380 million. It names 23 recipients, and it was submitted to your office with a request for prosecutorial review. The room went silent. Patel leaned forward. "Senator, I'm not familiar with that specific document." "You're not familiar with it, or you ordered it destroyed." "I never ordered any documents destroyed." Whitehouse placed another document on the screen. This is an email from your Chief of Staff, dated February 23rd, ordering all files related to case NY 2019-4738 to be permanently archived with director-level access only. That's your case number, Director Patel. The same case you claim not to know about. Patel's lawyer leaned in to whisper, but Whitehouse wasn't done. And here's the interesting part. One of the 23 names in that investigation is yours. In October 2016, you received $180,000 in consulting fees from a PAC that was funded through 2 shell companies by Jeffrey Epstein. Did you know that? I did not. Did you disclose any payments from that PAC during your FBI background check? I disclosed all required financial relationships. That's not what I asked. Did you disclose payments from American Security Initiative PACs? Pause. I don't recall the specific names of every PAC that... It was $180,000, Director Patel. That's not a number you forget. Another pause. Longer this time. I would need to review my disclosure forms. I already reviewed them. It's not there. You took money from an Epstein-connected entity and didn't disclose it. Then, as FBI director, you tried to bury the investigation that would have exposed it. Is that an accurate summary? Patel's face was red. Senator, you're making accusations based on incomplete... I'm making accusations based on FBI documents. Documents that, according to this whistleblower testimony, he held up another file, you ordered deleted. But Special Agent Jennifer Caldwell saved them. She preserved the evidence, and now Congress has it all. The cameras captured it. Patel, speechless, his lawyers frantically passing notes. Behind him, FBI staffers with their heads down, knowing the building they worked in was about to explode. The aftermath. Within 24 hours, 3 more FBI agents came forward. They confirmed Caldwell's story. Patel's office had ordered multiple Epstein-related files archived or deleted. Internal memos showed he'd personally reviewed the case, despite his claims of ignorance. The Justice Department opened an obstruction investigation, not into Epstein, into Patel. Republican senators began distancing themselves. Even Lindsey Graham, usually a Trump loyalist, said Patel needed to answer serious questions before keeping his job. Democrats called for immediate resignation, but the real damage was the money trail. Investigative journalists, now armed with Caldwell's files, started digging. They found that Patel wasn't alone. 2 of the other 23 names were current Trump administration officials. One was a major GOP donor. The Epstein network, it turned out, hadn't died with Epstein. It had just gone underground, and Patel had tried to keep it there. Where Patel stands now. As of April 2024, Kash Patel remains FBI director technically, but he's on de facto administrative leave while the Justice Department investigates. He hasn't appeared in public since the hearing. His legal team has filed motions to block the release of more documents. Jennifer Caldwell has been placed under federal protection after receiving threats. She's testified before 3 congressional committees and a grand jury. She's also been nominated for the FBI's Medal of Valor, an unprecedented honor for a whistleblower. The Epstein files are now public, all 4,700 pages. The names have been redacted pending further investigation, but leaks have started appearing in the press. The political fallout is only beginning, and it all happened because one FBI agent decided that some files were too important to delete. Patel tried to bury the truth. Instead, he buried himself.